What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over another interview question. Obviously, we're going to be doing it on LeetCode as always. So today the problem that we're going to be solving is called Asteroid Collision, and this is actually Lyft's #1 most frequently asked question. So make sure you guys stick around and know how to solve it. Alright guys, so today we're going over another interview question as always. Today the question we're going over is, again, Lyft's #1 most asked question according to LeetCode right now. So if you guys have a Lyft interview coming up, you guys have big N interviews coming up, this will definitely help you prepare. If you guys enjoy this content, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel below. And to get into our problem today, our problem description says we are given an array of asteroids of integers representing asteroids in a row. For each asteroid, the absolute value represents its size, and the sign represents its direction, positive meaning that it's moving right, and negative meaning that it's moving to the left. Each asteroid moves at the same speed, and asks us to find out the state of the asteroids after all collisions. And they tell us that if two asteroids meet, the smaller one will explode. If both are the same size, both will explode, and two asteroids moving in the same direction will never ever meet. Okay, so we're basically given a list of numbers that represent asteroids. The actual value of the number represents its size, and then the positive or negative sign represents the direction that it's moving. Again, so moving right means it's positive, and negative means that it's moving left. So in example 1 here, if we were given the numbers 5, 10, and -5, we would output 5 and 10. And the explanation tells us that 10 and -5 collide, resulting in 10, and 5 and 10 will never collide. So to explain what that's really saying, it's saying that these two asteroids are both moving right, and any two asteroids that are moving in the same direction, they told us will never ever collide. So that's why we definitely get these here. And then the reason why -5 goes away is because 10 is moving to the right because it's positive, and -5 is moving to the left, so eventually those asteroids collide. And 10 is greater than -5, so therefore -5 explodes, and 10 is still existing. So again, our answer would be 5 and 10 as an integer array. Now in example 2, if we just had two asteroids, right, one of size 8 moving right, and one of size 8 as well, but it's negative, so it's moving left, they are the same size. So they will collide because they're moving in opposite directions. They will both explode because they are the same size, and therefore we'd output just an empty array, right, because there's actually nothing left after all these asteroids have collided. And so they tell us that 8 and -8 collide, exploding each other. Now in example 3, if we were given 10, 2, and -5, we would output 10. And the reason for that is, well, let's think about this, right? We have 10 moving right, we have 2 moving right, and then we have -5 moving left. So the 2 and the -5 collide, -5 destroys 2, -5 keeps going and hits the 10, right? So -5, or really it's 5 is less than 10. So -5 explodes, or 5 explodes, and we just are left with that 10. So it tells us that 2 and -5 collide, resulting in -5. Then the 10 and the -5 collide, resulting in 10. So that's why 10 is our output for example 3. For example 4, if we're given -2, -1, 1, and 2, we would output the exact same thing. And the reason for that is because none of these things are going to collide, right? -1 and -2 are both moving left. 1 and 2 are both moving right. So they're basically just moving away from each other the entire time, therefore nothing will collide. So now let's just take a quick look at our notes, and it tells us that the length of the asteroids that we're given will be at most 10,000. So we'll have at most 10,000 asteroids given to us, and then each asteroid will be a non-zero integer in the range -1,000 to 1,000 inclusive. So now let's talk about how to solve this. And if you guys want to give this problem a chance on your own, I definitely recommend that you guys do so now. Pause the video, think about it for 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes if you want. I think it's really important to try and actually develop that muscle that is understanding how to solve these problems and trying to solve them on your own. I think that's really how you get better. But with that being said, if you guys haven't paused the video by now, you guys probably want to know the answer, so let's jump into it. So what we really want to realize, right, is that we care about asteroids that are going in opposite directions, and then on top of that, we need to be able to keep track of, 1, what asteroids will collide, right? And then on top of that, we actually need to pay attention to what asteroids are going to collide and in what order. Right, so here, like in example 3, this is an interesting case where we had -5, and it first collided with a 2, and it destroyed the 2, and then it collided with a 10, and it got destroyed by the 10. So we first need to figure out how we can keep track of what asteroids are going to collide in what order, and that's really the key to this problem. And so if we think about this for a minute, we want to know everything in the reverse order, right? So first, 10 is the first thing we see, followed by a 2. And so we want to know those things, but basically in reverse order, right? So we want to first know that -5 is going to collide with a 2, and then collide with a 10. And so a really good data structure to help us do that is a stack. So what we could basically do is throw everything that's positive or moving to the right into our stack, right? And then every single time we encounter a negative number, we could basically simulate those collisions. So if we got to a -5, we would have had a 10 and then a 2 in our stack. So we get to -5, 2 is at the top of our stack, and we check what happens when they collide because they're going opposite directions, right? So then we would know, okay, -5 definitely destroys 2 because 5 is greater than 2. And then we can continue simulating what happens once it gets past that 2 by popping from our stack and seeing what else is in our stack. So then we get to 10, and we know that 10 is actually greater than -5 or greater than 5. So then we know, okay, 10 is going to destroy 5, and then we're just simply left with 10. So the intuition behind this solution is really you need to use a stack. So once you realize you need a stack, this problem actually isn't that hard. Every single time that you see a positive asteroid, right, an asteroid that's moving to the right, you could throw it into your stack. And every single time you see a negative asteroid, meaning it's moving to the left, you could simulate those different collisions by using whatever's at the top of your stack. So let's start getting that logic down to try and use a stack to simulate the collisions that we might see in our asteroids. So the first thing we definitely want to do is just create that stack, right? So I'm going to say stack of integer stack equals new stack. Awesome. And so now we just want to iterate through all our asteroids, and we definitely have to go through all of them because we need to know what happens to all of our asteroids so that we can return what asteroids are left after all the collisions. So I'm going to say integer I equals 0, and I'm just going to use a while loop personally to go through all our asteroids. So while I is less than our asteroids dot length, we have to basically try and simulate these different collisions. So the first thing we said is if we see a positive asteroid or an asteroid that's moving to the right, we just want to throw it into our stack. So let's get that case down. So if asteroids of I is greater than 0, we're just going to say stack.push asteroids of I. Great. And otherwise, we run into the case where, okay, we've encountered a negative asteroid, which means that the asteroid is moving to the left. And what that's saying is, okay, if we're going to collide with anything, we need to simulate those collisions, right? So now we need to draw upon our stack and try and simulate those collisions, right? So whatever we're going to collide with first, if we're on a negative asteroid, is whatever's at the top of our stack. So the first thing we want to check is while our stack is not empty. So that will let us know if we actually have something to collide with. And the thing at the top of the stack, if that's greater than 0, and if the current asteroid that we're on is greater than whatever's at the top of the stack, right? So I'll say stack.peak, if that's less than asteroids I. So this means a couple things. The first being that we have something in our stack. The second is that the thing at the top of our stack is also moving in the opposite direction of the current asteroid, right? Our asteroid at the top of our stack is moving right, and the asteroid that we're currently on is moving left, so they're definitely going to collide. And the third thing is checking the collision, right? If the asteroid that we're on that's moving left is actually greater than the asteroid that's at the top of our stack, then the asteroid at the top of our stack will be destroyed. So we could simply say stack.pop, which will be simulating destroying that asteroid. And again, this will continue while the asteroid that we're on is greater than the thing at the top of our stack. So we'll continuously destroy things, and then our loop will break once that asteroid that we're on is not big enough to destroy any asteroid in our stack. Okay, great. So now we need to check the interesting case where, okay, that asteroid that we're on has actually destroyed everything. It's continuously moved through every single asteroid that we've seen in our stack, and now the stack is empty. So if our stack is empty, we need to make sure that we take that asteroid that just destroyed all of them and put it into our stack so we don't forget it when we return our result. So let's just get that check down there now. So we'll say if our stack is empty, or, because we need to check one more thing, if our stack's not empty, but the thing that's in our stack is negative, then we need to make sure that we just put the asteroid that we're on into our stack, right? Because remember, two asteroids that are moving the same direction, which is in this case left, they're never ever going to collide. So we could just say if our stack's not empty, right, which is when we're actually here on line 12 at the second conditional here, the second evaluation of our conditional, we would just say if stack.peak is less than 0, then we definitely know we just need to throw the current asteroid into our stack. So I'll say stack.add asteroids I. Okay, awesome. So now our last check that we need to make sure we do is if those two asteroids are equal, right? So we have this asteroid that's moving left, and it's going to try and destroy asteroids that are in our stack because those are things that are moving to the right. So if we ever get to the point where this asteroid is equal to this asteroid, we need to make sure that we destroy both of them. So the way that we're going to do that is really just check if the values of those two asteroids are equal, right? And we need to ignore a negative sign that we currently have for the asteroid that's moving left. So we could just say else if stack.peak is equal to math.absolute value of asteroids I, then we want to say stack.pop, right? So again, that's going to say this asteroid's value, ignoring its sign, is equal to this asteroid that's about to collide with. Both of them need to be destroyed. And because the stack, again, is going to be our return values, essentially, this asteroid will not be added to it, right? And this asteroid will be popped from the stack. So that works out and that checks out. So now once we've actually evaluated these different cases, right, we've handled positive asteroids and negative asteroids, we need to just make sure that outside of our conditionals here, we increment I, so on the next iteration of our loop, we go to the next asteroid that we want to evaluate. So now finally, when this loop ends, hopefully we will actually have simulated all the asteroids and their collisions, whatever will happen between them. And now we have a stack, right? And our stack is actually going to be in reverse order because, again, stack is a last in, first out data structure. So everything's going to be in the reverse order. So because we need to return our values in the opposite order, we're just going to initialize an integer array to return. So I'm going to say int, and these are really going to be the remaining asteroids, right? So I'm going to say remaining equals new int, and then we're going to have however many are left in our stack. So I'll say stack.size. And now we can basically just go through and populate that integer array in reverse order. So we can put the thing at the top of our stack in the last spot, the thing at the second last position in our stack at the second last position remaining, and so on and so forth. So now I'll just say for I equals stack.size minus 1, while I is greater than or equal to 0, I minus minus. And we're just going to throw into remaining of I whatever comes from popping from the stack. So once this actually finishes now, all I have to do is actually return our remaining asteroids. So now to quickly talk about our runtime and our space complexity, well, what are we really doing? We're actually just walking through all of our asteroids and simulating these different collisions. So that's actually going to be O of n time, where n is the number of asteroids that were given at the beginning of the problem. In terms of our space complexity, we're creating a stack, right? And our stack might at most hold O of n items, or all the asteroids. So we could also say that our memory complexity is O of n as well. Again, n being the number of asteroids that were given in this problem. So now let's run this code. Let's make sure that it works. Okay, well, this isn't actually our problem yet, but I definitely want to say stack.push here, not stack.add, just for consistency. And then the problem that I'm actually having here is, right, for asteroids I, whenever I compare it to the top of the stack, I need to make sure that I'm not comparing it based on its negative sign, right? So I really need to say math.absolute value of that asteroid before we actually compare them and pop from our stack. So now let's run this code and make sure that it works. Awesome, and it does. All right, guys, so that's how to solve asteroid collision in Java. Again, this is list #1 most frequently asked question according to LeetCode right now. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful and want to support my channel, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.